million miniatures challenge.
Welcome back to Engine Killer. My name is Hank, and on today's episode, I had originally planned to start working on a new series which would follow my progress as far as painting and building and painting a terrain display board for Legions Imperialis for Armies on Parade. But Games Workshop is not doing Armies on Parade this year, so instead I'll be doing the million mini paint challenge. So far I've only pledged to paint 150, but I think I can probably hit 100. Although, at the time of recording this intro, I'm actually not entirely sure which project this intro is going to be for, because I've actually started quite a few. So, let's find out.
Defense of Ryza book. This is where we first saw pictures of the PsiTitan, which is kind of weird because rules for it were actually in the book that came previously, but there was no photo of it in that book. And then this book just randomly kind of has a picture of it on almost, it's like the second to last page. It wasn't until last year that we actually got a really nice photo of the PsiTitan in the Liber Strategia book for Legions Imperialis. And this one's from a different angle, so you can actually see the glowing runes, and you can see that there are glowing runes on the back of the left arm. So that's kind of nice. I wouldn't have otherwise known that they were there. This particular model, it's actually a little beaten up. It's been sitting on the shelf for quite a while. You can see there's quite a bit of dust built up here. It's missing the top pieces. There's a little bit of caked on, I guess that's probably super glue. So the first thing I need to do is take all these pieces into the bathroom, give them really good thorough cleaning, go in with an old brush and try to get all that dust that's caked in there out. Once that's dried overnight, now I can get started. There's still a little bit of buildup in there that I need to get out. Some of the weapons aren't actually glued completely into place and they're a little wobbly. Same thing with the legs. You can also see there's a missing panel. There's parts where the primer's missing. It doesn't have the little cage that goes on the top where the void shield generators are. And then there's also some cabling missing from under the chin. I don't know that I'm ever going to get any of those pieces, so I'll just kind of have to make do and paint it without, because this isn't my model. I'm painting it for my buddy Ed, but I'm excited to see how this comes out. I've always wanted to paint one of these, because I don't have the option of taking the PsiTitan, so there's that. I guess the upside is that I can take corrupted Titans, which means I can actually do a little bit more when it comes to modeling. Alright, so this is Doom Death Black from Duncan Rhodes paint line, Two Thin Coats. It just says Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy. Ultimately, it's pretty much all black paints that I've used with this. They're very similar. I mean, it's black paint. Whether it's Chaos Black or whatever the Army Painter equivalent, I mean, it's just black. Once I've got all the black done, I'm going to go over all the armor panels with a dry brush of Eshin Gray. forgot about this glue that's built up over here. This is a pretty easy fix. I'm just gonna grab my X-Acto knife and kind of scrape that off and try to be fairly gentle and not get really any of the plastic. Just get that glue off there, and then once you go back over with black, you can't even tell that it had ever even been there. But I guess this actually did need a couple thin coats. I honestly prefer just a single coat is fine with me. Like I'm not a fan of having to paint something more than once. If you can do something right the first time, then just do that. That's my philosophy. But I'm also not painting for competition or anything like that. Now that all of that's done and dry, I'm going to go over all the armor panels with a pretty heavy Nolan oil wash. Now this one is a gunmetal that I made by mixing two Army Painter paints. I mixed their matte black air paint with some of their plate mail metal because I wanted something a little bit darker than bolt gun, and I couldn't find any dark gunmetal at the game store when I went to buy paint, so I just went ahead and made my own. So that's what I'm putting on here for all the metal bits. Yeah, and I'm just gonna go pretty generously over the entire framework. Anything that's not an armor panel, it's all gonna get gunmetal. Weapons. Funny story. The reason I waited to paint these was because I didn't have any black primer. I actually went to the store to get black primer, and I got to the parking lot and realized I forgot my wallet at the house. So it was a couple more days before I was able to go to the store and get black primer. And then once I did, I actually kind of went backwards on this. I did all the gunmetal first, and then I went back in on the armor panels with black, and then I went in and did the Eschen Gray dry brush. I had started painting the Power Fist black, and then I remembered it's supposed to be red. It's the one thing that's red on the whole miniature. So here I'm using a really old pot of corn red. going to go back over those armor panels on the weapons with the Esham Gray dry brush. One of the things that I really like to do with this corn red is give it a wash of Agrax Earthshade. I think the Agrax Earthshade works really nicely on that red. For shading, it just, I don't know, something about it just works really well and looks really great. And here, I'm actually comparing the gold paints that I have from scale to see which one matches more closely to the one pictured in the Liber Strategia book. Dwarven Gold from Scale 75. I know, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I absolutely love Scale's metallic paints. So yeah, a lot of armor trim that needs to be painted gold here. This is going to take a while. Luckily for you, you get to see it in a matter of minutes. But I was probably doing this for at least a couple of hours, which is fine. You know, I mean, it's part of the process. Put on a movie or whatever, podcast, music, and then just paint. Gold trim is done. Well, for the most part. We have still got to do the Power Fist, but that's going to need a highlight with Citadel colors, blood red. This is actually an older pot too, so it might have a different name now. I don't know. Again with Dwarven Gold from Scale 75, because you know how much I love painting gold trim. This is coming along really, really nicely. There's still quite a lot of fine detail that I need to do. I don't know how I'm going to do the runes and the glow effect. We've got some time to figure that out. We'll see it on the next video. Cheers!
You